Jeff Passan just dropped a bombshell Red Sox trade report on Jarren Duran, ranking him third in his latest trade deadline candidates. And with a new report heavily linking Duran to the Phillies, it seems Jarren may not be a Red Sox for too much longer. Welcome into Red Sox Digest, everybody. I'm Jace Andrews, and I appreciate you tuning into the show. I'll start off by saying this. I love Jarren Duran, and I do not want him traded at this MLB trade deadline. In fact, I would like him to be a Red Sox for the foreseeable future. However, we're getting new reports, we're getting new details, and we're getting new teams being linked to Duran, and it seems as though that more than likely that will not be the case. Now, Jeff Passan had a lot to say, and we're going to talk about that in today's show. Plus, the Athletic's Jim Bowden had a very big quote on Jarren Duran and the possibility of him being traded. Before that, though, make sure you hit that subscribe button because the MLB trade deadline is coming up faster than you think. It's on July 31st, less than 10 days away at this point, and we're going to have you covered on all the Red Sox trade reports, rumors, and of course, when a trade does happen, we'll have the first video out to you on this channel, so make sure you don't miss anything by subscribing today. Let's go to the Jeff Passan report first, as he released a updated top 50 trade candidate ranking and destinations that make the most sense for those top 50. They had a new number one, lots of relievers, and some people dropping off the list, including Alex Bregman, who we had on there originally back a month ago when he had his first report. Now, Jarren Duran, he has ranked as the third trade candidate possibility. This is more based off of how big of a trade it would be, more than the likelihood of him trading. So don't think that just because Jarren was ranked third, he's going to be traded. It's more if he gets traded, he is a big guy, a big name on the board. Now, the chance of trade that Jeff Passan gave to this was a 25%, and that is about the same as what he gave him the first time, maybe even a little bit lower, I think, because the Red Sox have pushed themselves into a playoff position. But Jarren Duran talked about the Padres a lot. The Phillies is a team that has been calling the phone. It stopped for a little bit, but it seems the Phillies are now back very interested in Jarren Duran, and, well, hitting a leadoff home run in their own ballpark may have helped out too. Jim Bowden of The Athletic had a report saying, quote, "The Red Sox have been discussing Jarren Duran with several teams. Now, this is not because they necessarily want to trade him, but because they like the outfield of Abreu in right, Rafaela in center, and Anthony in left. The Phillies and Padres were mentioned as interested in Jarren Duran. And why not? Because Jarren, although not having as good of a year as he did last year, is still a very good player and has a bunch of intangibles that you like. His speed is one, his likability, his leadership, his ability to, jump into a clubhouse and immediately, help out the young guys, be a light in the room. We forget that the reason the Red Sox had the Wally Head home run celebration is because of Jarren Duran. Whenever somebody hits a home run for the Red Sox, if it's not Duran, he's the one putting the Wally Head on them. This guy is loved by all of his teammates. He's a great personality in the clubhouse. We obviously know from the documentary some of the things he's been through, and he's a fan favorite across the Boston Red Sox organization, at least in my opinion. Now, again, his stats this year haven't been great compared to last year, but in some ways last year he got his expectations a little raised more than I think it really should have been. And Jeff Passan has a report kind of talking about that exact thing, saying, quote, "Duran had a huge breakout season in 2024, posting the 7th best F4 in the majors at 6.8. He overperformed his underlying metrics, though, i.e., he had some lucky outcomes, and those metrics have regressed a bit this year," end quote. And he's right. Last year, he had a lot of lucky outcomes, really kind of got into a hot streak in June, and rode that throughout the entire season. Now, does that mean that he is a bad player this year? Absolutely not. Does this mean that he is not good this year? Absolutely not. But is he an all-star game MVP? Is he a guy who's going to get MVP votes this year? No, that's not going to happen. He's had a great month of July and has really kind of picked it up. Obviously, the power has come back a little bit. But he has regressed a little bit. But the Phillies still are very interested in him. Jeff Passan continues on his report saying, quote, "Now he's underperforming then. He's been unlucky. So his true talent is somewhere south of that star level figure, but better than the roughly 2 WAR, commensurate with a solid regular, he's on pace for this season." So again, he's on a roughly 2 WAR pace for the season, but he's probably a little better than that. Obviously, the WAR he had last year, nearly 10, is not awesome. I would probably sit in the middle if he's probably a 4 to 5 win player per season, which WAR is wins above replacement. So 4 or 5 win is kind of what that is. So I want Jarren Duran as a Boston Red Sox. However, I do understand the Red Sox liking the outfield better with him not in it. But at the same time, I just know what's going to happen. We're going to trade Jarren, we're going to trade Wilyer, one of the two, and then somebody's going to get injured, and we're going to regret it. Now, does that mean they can be scared away from trading him? No. Jeff Passan listed some top destinations being San Diego, Atlanta, Cleveland, Kansas City, San Francisco, and the last one being Philadelphia, which is where we go with Jim Bowden's report talking about kind of the latest with that. Now, I do have to kind of finish off Jeff Passan here talking about why the Red Sox would be more open to trading Jarren Duran rather than, any other outfielder. And he says this, quote, with Roman Anthony, Ceddanne Rafael, and Wilyer Abreu, the Red Sox have the outfield depth to consider moving Duran for controllable top-end pitching, end quote. The reason I think Wilyer Abreu ultimately ends on the higher scale than Jarren Duran is just because he has more years of control. Jarren Duran has like 2-3 more years of control, whereas Wilyer Abreu was a rookie last year. So, being that, he has 4 years of control after this season, and that's a lot. And for a guy who is leading the team in home runs, and I believe RBI to this point, that's a guy that you don't really want to trade. Now, Wilyer is an up-and-down player, and his batting average is not going to be as high as Duran's, top batting average. But he's got more power. And with the Red Sox, we've seen they like that Roman can be in left, Ceddanne can be in center, and in right field can be Wilyer Abreu. The one thing I do agree, I don't want to trade Duran, but I do think Ceddanne Rafaela should be playing center field day in and day out. Does Jarren Duran actually look more comfortable in center field than left? Yeah, kind of funnily enough, he does. But Ceddanne is such a good center fielder, you cannot take him out of that position. You have to put him there. He would win a platinum glove every single year if you play him in center field. He's Jackie Bradley Jr., maybe even a little better than Jackie Bradley Jr. was. So, Jim Bowden, what does he have to say about Jarren Duran and the Phillies? He starts with this, saying, quote, if the Red Sox trade him, it will be for a starting pitcher and perhaps a first baseman if they can find the right deal. Okay, so we obviously know that the Red Sox would, in case, move him for a starting pitcher or a first baseman for the Philadelphia Phillies. Well, the prospects are probably what we're going to have to go look at because there's no first baseman or pitchers that right now on their major league roster the Phillies are going to trade to the Boston Red Sox. So if we look at their top prospects, Andrew Painter, who has not come up to the major leagues just yet, he's, again, very young. His projected timeline is to get there, but a 6'7", 215 righty, what potential be ace would be a huge thing. Mick Abel came up this season, had good outings, had bad outings. We'll go to his stats in just a moment, but those are probably the top two guys the Red Sox are looking for. Moises Chase down there, I just don't see being an option for the simple fact the Red Sox are trying to compete. So if they're trading for somebody who is going to pop into the rotation right now. And if I look at the Phillies and I look at the Padres, I don't really know who I want. If it's going to happen, I don't think I want either of them. I'd rather have Joe Ryan because I'm not going to get anybody from the top of the pitching rotation of the Philadelphia Phillies because they're going for a playoff spot. I'm not going to get anybody from the top of the rotation of the San Diego Padres. I mean, I could get Dylan Cease or maybe Michael King who are on expiring contracts, but at the same time, they're also in a playoff hunt. So the Red Sox being in an interesting position of they are buyers, but they have almost a selling piece in Jarren Duran, and that's where it kind of gets a little interesting on what the Red Sox and specifically Chief Baseball Officer Craig Breslow would want to do and the best of it. We first look at Mick Abel and his stats because the Phillies obviously have been now named the top team, and this year has been a tale of two stories. His MLB ERA is a 5.04. He had a very good first outing. I think he had like 6 shutout innings in his first ever MLB career outing, but has struggled since. He actually just got sent back down recently. But in the MILB, 7-2 record with a 1.83 ERA, 12 games, 12 starts, 69 innings pitched, and a 1.10 whip. It's very freaking good. Plus his MILB career stats, really solid at 4.32. I'm not saying this guy's like a Major League ready level guy right now, but I think he is an addition that the Red Sox would happily welcome and has a lot of intangibles that they like. We obviously know the Red Sox, whether they're high and mighty or whether it's actually a true process, believe in their pitching camp to basically make anybody that they get a true solid pitcher. And, Mick Abel could definitely be that. But if I am Craig Breslow and the Phillies are calling him and I know I don't need to trade Jarren Duran, I'm going to them and say, I want Andrew Painter. Yes, has he had not a great season in MILB? Yeah, for sure. 3-5 record, 4.84 ERA, 16 games, 16 starts, 1.36 WHIP, compared to his MILB record of a 9-7 and a 2.75 and a 1.06 WHIP, But he is definitely the highly touted prospect. He's 22. He's a right-hander, and I also have a little bit of notion that maybe the Red Sox don't want back-to-back lefties as their aces, quote-unquote. And if you believe in Andrew Painter and see him as a future ace on your team, or at least number 2, you wouldn't mind him being a righty, given Garrett Crochet being the lefty. That'd be a tremendous 1-2 punch in the start of your rotation. But we're talking next year. We're not really talking this year. And so that's the hard part about all this, and especially when you talk about Jarren Duran with the Phillies. What are you going to get from them that is going to help you win this year? Are they going to give you Kyle Schwarber? Absolutely no way. Are they going to give you anybody who is truly going to help out your offense enough? No. So you look to the pitching staff. Is there anybody that they're going to be trading? I don't think so. Ranger Suarez, forget the guy who got snubbed from the All-Star game, whatever his name is. I'm blanking on that now. Obviously, Zach Wheeler's not going anywhere. So I'm kind of almost stuck here and saying, okay, if you trade him to the Phillies, you're getting Andrew Painter and Mick Gable. That's great, but that almost feels like you just traded Duran because you could. If I'm not getting Andrew Painter and somebody from the Major League roster, or Andrew Painter and some other prospects down there, I'm saying no, and I'll trade Jarren Duran in the offseason. I'm not worrying about it if you feel the need to trade him right now. Trade him in the offseason. Wait. Now, again, I do trust Jeff Passan, and a 25% chance of trade is definitely, it's 1/4. That's not a small margin. Do I think the Red Sox will pull the trigger? I honestly don't know. I sit here and I go back and forth because I think they understand the value that Jarren Duran has on this team, regardless of his stats, but more in his leadership abilities and the way he has taken in, the big three. And granted, Alex Bregman has done the same thing, if not a little more, and he's more of a veteran presence and a veteran type and has more to back up what he can do in the major leagues than Jarren Duran does. But the case still stands that Jarren Duran is a light on this team. And they say it on the broadcast 15 million times. When Jarren Duran goes, the Red Sox go. So if Jarren Duran leaves, what happens to the Red Sox? They fine? And they sat him in one game in Wrigley and they lost, and then he played in the final game, and not that he did much. He walked and came and scored a run, but they won that game. Today, he had a leadoff home run and really kind of sparked the boys into getting Zach Wheeler, or rather yesterday, sparked the boys to getting Zach Wheeler out of there. And yes, they didn't win the game, but Jarren Duran's a spark plug. He struck out in the extra innings. That's a no-no. But I don't know. I'm very intrigued to see Red Sox Nation. I see a lot of opinions on Twitter, and I see a lot of opinions here on the Red Sox Digest, saying that y'all don't want to trade Duran, and I kind of agree, but it seems more likely than not that may be the case. If not this trade deadline, then at least the MLB off season. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Who would you rather trade him to? Phillies, Padres? Is there any other team that you believe that they could trade him for? Cleveland, Kansas City, San Francisco? There's a bunch of different options, so we could see him go to a lot of different places. What about a Jarren Duran for a Ronald Acuna? How about that? I don't know. All right, we appreciate you. We'll see you next time here on Red Sox Digest. Peace out, guys.